Human trafficking is the fastest and largest growing crime in the world today. A crime that is in the trade of human beings, exploiting lives for money. Human trafficking is prevalent right across the globe, existing on principles of supply and demand. Where there is a demand, they create the supply. All too often, men, women and children are being stripped of their basic human rights, forced to endure things that no one should have to endure. We want to show you what could happen, well in actual fact, what does happen. It is how and what happens when a girl is taken from one place to the next. We are talking about real people, real lives that have fallen victim to this lucrative business called human trafficking.
Here we are in the beautiful Sundarbans National Park, one of the most rural areas of India. Densely covered by mangrove forests, rice fields and home to the Bengali tiger, we are on the east of India. And only a few kilometres to my left, you'll hit the Bangladeshi border.
The only way in or out is by boat. It is still subsistence farming where the local currency is more about the crop that you produce rather than a coin or paper note. People living in rural areas like this are vulnerable to the prey of traffickers due to poverty, the lack of education and employment opportunities, and unfortunately, the low status of women in this society.
My name is Rajesh and I keep coming to Sundarbans since last 10 years. I bring people here to see Sundarbans, but definitely it has got different elements to it, like one of them being the trafficking of girls from here to the city and are being lured into the pretense of getting married to well-off families, which happens on most of the time, but many a times there are agents who brings them and tell them, okay, you'll get married and this, that. The family gets a bit of money from the boys' side, but many of the times those girls do not reach those families and they are trafficked into the brothels. And girls are vulnerable because of the social strata of these areas, and the biggest one is poverty. When you don't have enough to eat, anything is alluring.
Where we are right now is a source destination for trafficking. Not only are girls taken from these rural areas, but they're also trafficked across the border from Bangladesh into India. And too many fall into the trap of these traffickers. And their journey goes from here to here. Kolkata is home to the largest red light area in South Asia, where there is an estimated 15,000 sex workers. Every day, thousands of men come here to purchase sex. And scattered around Kolkata are another 30 red light areas in which young women and children are subjected to sexual abuse. It is here that traffickers bring those vulnerable, and it is here that they stay until help arrives. Working with sex traffic survivors, we know that there's not one definitive way in which a girl is trafficked. A girl from Bangladesh thinks that she's got a job in Kolkata as a waitress. She ends up in a brothel. A girl is tricked into falling in love with someone and goes all the way to Mumbai to marry him. She ends up in a brothel. A girl at a young age is sold by her family because of just desperate poverty. She ends up in a brothel. Unfortunately, all these stories are true and they're all so different, but the girls end up in the same place.
According to the Global Slavery Index, an estimated 40.3 million people around the world are engaged in modern slavery, 30.4 million of which are in the Asia-Pacific region. So while many think of slavery as something of the past, the unfortunate truth is that it still exists. Today you have heard that the risk is real, and if we don't take a stand together and put an end to modern slavery, precious lives will continue to be destroyed and girls will continue to be trafficked from one place to the next.
So join us on our journey and mission, believing that every life is worth fighting for.